Welcome along 6th grade. It is art time. Here's what we're going to be drawing this week. A realistic human face. And I'm going to be teaching you about facial proportions. Alright, so we're going to be doing sketching and measuring to get all the facial features in the right place. So the eyes, the nose, the ears, the eyebrows, the mouth and lips and chin. Of course, all of these things are different on every different face. We all have a unique face. So yours doesn't have to look exactly like this. The eyes might be bigger, wider, the nose might be shorter or wider, the lips could be thinner. Okay, so you can make those changes if you want, or if you kind of make those changes just kind of accidentally, that's fine. The really important thing that you're learning today is how to sketch and measure the shapes and sizes of the facial proportions. Okay, let's get started. And so we will begin with a circle. Look, I'm holding the pencil for this kind of sketching grip, and I want to try and make the circle as big as the page. Well, not as big as the page, it doesn't go all the way to the edges, but it fills the space there. Okay, that looks good. The next thing I'm going to do is divide the circle down the middle like this. And comes out the bottom, that line. Let's imagine we're going to divide the circle in half that way as well, but I don't need to draw a line there. I just need to understand where that halfway point is. Alright, then I want the same distance underneath as half of a circle here. So we go, that distance is the same as that distance, and it should be the same as that distance as well. So that's where the line is going to end, okay? Next we're going to draw a curving line that joins the bottom, the chin, to the side of the head, to sort of where the top of the ear is, the cheekbones on the side of the head. Now, this line can be lots of different kinds of shapes. It could be like a broad curving line for a wider face, or it could be a slim curving line, or it could be an angular line if the face has a big jawbone. Alright, so you might want to experiment at this stage. If you don't like what you do, you can erase it and try again. Let's see that on both sides. Try and make it symmetrical. And now you might look at that and think, that doesn't look like the shape of a face, it looks too wide and big. So let's try adapting it. It should be more like that perhaps. Try and make it the same on both sides. Maybe you'll get yours looking really good first time, and you won't need to make changes here. So it's so important to keep looking at both sides. I'm going to put a guideline in there too, so I can get it symmetrical. So yeah, you keep looking at both sides and try and make it the same. Okay, the next thing I'm going to measure is half this distance again. So it's about here, the line that I'm looking for. So it's the circle to the center point and then halfway along that line. Who knows the name for that special distance between the center point to the edge of the circle? What's that called? Anyone know? So from this line, I'm going to extend it all the way across. And it should meet more or less where the jaw that you just drew joins the circle. Hope that makes sense. Okay, this is the eye line. Okay, next measurement. We're going to measure 5 equal spaces along this eye line. Okay, so the first one goes across the center point. All right, because it's 5, it's an odd number. We can't have 2 on this side and 2 on this side. That would equal 4, of course. Okay, so what I mean is the first space is going to look something like that. So that's 1, and then 2 more, and the same on this side. Alright, so now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And, you know, again, if you need to make adjustments, you can. If we take that line and that line down, that's going to be helpful. Down to the bottom of the circle, more or less. That's where the nose is going to be. The bottom of the nose, okay? About here. Yes, now this line that we drew for the jawline is helpful for the lips now. But what I want to see is actually a little bit higher up. I want that part of the jawbone. Now this is another opportunity to say again that all faces are different, and the measurements that we're making and the positions that we're going to put the facial features are going to give us certain characteristics in a face. Male and female faces are very different. People from different parts of the world have different faces. Different races have different faces. So I guess all of that is to say that you can kind of decide where you want these lines to be a little bit. You know, should the nose come lower than the bottom of that circle? You know, when we're about to draw the lips, so where's the line of the lips, the center line of the lips? Where should that go? Closer to the nose or closer to the chin? I'm going to try here. That's what feels right for me in this picture. So that's the center of the lips, okay? Alright, now the eyes are going to go here in this space number 2 and space number 4. And let's just try and draw the basic shape of the eye first of all. Now the ear should start at this line too, the line that goes through the center of the eye. But what I mean when I say start is this part that comes up a little bit. Okay, so the ear joins on and then it comes down. Alright, then we have like that. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. That's the kind of the top of the ear. Again, these things can be a little bit different for different people. And it's going to come down to more or less the bottom of the nose. Alright, so that's the basic shape of the ear. Let's work on the nose a little bit. And I'm going to get rid of this, clean this up a little bit here. We're going to start with a circle, which should be on the center line, crossing the center line, something like that. And then some curves either side of the circle. Again, how wide, how big, all of that can change. Now this circle is not going to stay, but it's just going to help us with that curve there. Okay? Sort of like the shape of a flying bird, yeah? circle away. The lips, are they going to be thin lips or full lips? Are they going to turn up at the corners sort of naturally, or are they going to turn down? Is there going to be a little bump to the shape, or is it going to be really flat? You can decide. Okay, now moving on to the eyes. I'm going to erase these numbers, we don't need those anymore. We had a class with just focusing on an eye, didn't we? So you guys have had some practice at this already. And I think it's a really good idea to do both eyes at the same time and to always check that they look right next to each other. You know, does that one, do they look the same? That one looks a little bit bigger somehow, doesn't it? So let's see if I can change that. Now, just like all the other parts of the face, the eyes can be all kinds of different shapes and sizes. There are, of course, limits to the size because we're dealing with realistic faces. We can't make the eyes huge, we can't make the nose massive or the lips tiny, but within reason, changing the shapes of these facial features, the size and the shape, can change the character of the face. So can you see, looking at these two eyes, if they're exactly right at the moment, or do I need to change one of them? I think I'm going to try and make this one a bit bigger now on this top line. Next thing will be, of course, eyebrows. The face looks kind of strange at the moment, no eyebrows. And again, they can be all kinds of shapes and sizes. Sometimes when you're drawing a face like this, it's not even clear if it's a boy or a girl or a man or a woman until this stage, when the next thing we're going to do can make a very big difference. That's going to be at the hair, of course. So if I were to do hair like this, we start to see a girl's face appearing, or a young woman's face. The hair is parted in the center and it's coming out the back too. Yeah. The line of the neck, of course, would be slimmer than the face, so we would see some hair. There's the neck, and there's the hair on either side. But equally, if we just go back a step, we can make the face also appear more like a man or a boy. Okay, be prepared to make changes to your face as well. For example, what about if my face had a softer, rounder chin here instead of such a pointy chin? How does that look? Next, I want to talk about some shading, and the first thing is to see these lines. That one's got a little bit erased here, but this one is still on this side. This was the bottom of that circle, the very first circle that we drew. And now these lines are going to become important again, because they help us see where the cheekbones are. Alright, and that's where we're going to put some shading on the face to highlight the cheekbones. So just tidying up that a little bit, and this area underneath is going to be shaded. Okay, then we're going to try and stop. We're going to stop just here where it meets the lips and try and just curve it under to meet the chin. Okay. I didn't say, but look how I'm holding the pencil differently. Hopefully you noticed that. Okay, do the same on the other side. Next, some shading around the eyebrows, connecting the corner of the eye to the edge of the eyebrow to start with. And see how that shading came down from the eyebrow and into the corner of the eye, a little bit wider than the corner of the eye. A little shading on the nose next, and around the mouth and the lips. Okay, so this is like a first layer of shading that we've done now. The next thing we're going to do is add some darker, firmer lines with the pencil and start to create darker shadows in certain places as well. I'll go over with a second layer of shading in some places. And now the picture is finished. So a lot to think about with a drawing like this. All the measuring at the start, and then the shading, getting the shading in the right places too. It's a good challenge for you all, and I look forward to seeing your drawings.